Hello, this video is on the cosine rule, as shown here in the syllabus. Questions that use the cosine rule may involve the use of bearings. The formulas for the cosine rule are given on page 6 of your formula booklet. If a triangle is not right-angled, then you cannot use right-angled triangle trigonometry, that's the SOH-CAH-TOA ratios, or Pythagoras' theorem to calculate lengths and angles. However, you can use the cosine rule. In a triangle, A is the side opposite angle A, B is the side opposite angle B, and C is the side opposite angle C. Sides and angles are labelled according to their position. A side length and the angle opposite that side are paired together. The cosine rule connects the three sides of a triangle with one of the angles. It states that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c, or a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a, or b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos b. Note that the angle used has to pair with the side being calculated. In this example, the cosine rule can be used to calculate the length of side C. To calculate the length of a side, you must know the angle that pairs with that side and both of the other sides. The cosine rule can be rearranged to make it easier to find an angle. This means that cos C equals a squared plus b squared minus c squared divided by 2ab, or cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared divided by 2bc, or cos B equals a squared plus c squared minus b squared, all divided by 2ac. Note that the side subtracted has to pair with the angle being calculated. In this example, the cosine rule can be used to calculate the size of angle C. To calculate the size of an angle, you must know the lengths of all three sides. Alternatively, you can use Solver. To do this, on the calculator, select Equation, press F3 for Solver and type the equation in. So that's 8, pressing the squared button, pressing Shift to access equal, and then 13 squared plus entering 12 squared, and then subtracting 2 multiplied by 13 multiplied by 12 multiplied by pressing the cos button and the x variable button to represent C. Pressing execute to enter the equation and F6 to solve the equation. Note that it doesn't matter which form of the equation you use, both forms will give you the same value for the angle. In this question, to find the length of the lake, BC, start by identifying that the cosine rule can be applied. The angle that pairs with BC, side A, is known, and the two other sides are known. Substituting in the values and performing the calculation gives the value shown. So the length of the lake, BC, is 307 meters, correct to three significant figures. In part A of this question, we're asked, how far is Churchill from Calgary? If we start by drawing a diagram, as shown, and find the size of angle theta. Subtracting 72 from 90 gives 18 degrees, and adding 18 and 90 and 9 gives 117 degrees. So theta is equal to 117 degrees, as shown. Next, identifying that the cosine rule can be applied, since the angle paired with the side to be found is known, and the other two sides are known. Representing the distance with c, substituting in the values, and using Solver to solve the equation. From the main menu, selecting Equation, pressing F3 for Solver and typing in the equation. Pressing the X variable button to represent c squared, Shift to access equals, and then entering 280 squared plus 1320 squared, subtract 2 multiplied by 280 multiplied by 1320 multiplied by, pressing the cos button, and 117 for the angle. Pressing execute to enter the equation, and F6 to solve the equation. Writing down the value of x, which represents c. So Churchill is 1,470 kilometres from Calgary, correct to 3 significant figures. In part B, to find the bearing of Churchill from Calgary, start by identifying the bearing, as shown on the diagram. Let x be the angle shown. Identify that the sine rule can be applied, since the side paired with x is known, and another pair of side and angle are also known. Substitute in the values, remembering to use an accurate value of the previous calculation. Use Solver to solve the equation. Pressing F1, repeat, and scrolling up to the equation line and typing in the new equation, starting by pressing a fraction, 1468.4 for the numerator, scrolling down, pressing the sine button, and 117 for the angle, pressing the right cursor to come back up, pressing shift to access equals, pressing the fraction button second time, entering 1320 for the numerator, scrolling down and entering sine, and then pressing the X variable button. Press execute and press F6 to solve the equation. If the value of x is clearly not the answer you're expecting, then press F1 to repeat the calculation and enter a more sensible start value, let's say 30 degrees for x. Press execute to enter that value, and then F6 to solve the equation again. Write down the value of x. Then, to find the bearing, add on 9 degrees, as shown. So the bearing of Churchill from Calgary is 052 degrees, correct to the nearest degree. In part C, to find how long is the direct flight from Calgary to Churchill, use the distance, speed, time triangle. To find the time, if you cover up t in the triangle, it will remind you that time is equal to distance divided by speed. Substituting in your answer from part A for the distance and an average speed of 720 kilometers per hour, and performing the calculation to give it the value shown. So the direct flight from Calgary to Churchill takes 2 hours, correct to the nearest hour.